Storyblocks.
All right, on Blitz, we have Coach Corey Garrett of the Union County Panthers. Coach, congratulations on what was a legendary season for you guys. Congrats on that, and thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being here.
Happy to talk about your team and the amazing ride y'all had. What does it take, for those who don't understand, like basketball is a tough game anyway, but what does it take for a team to be able to make it through the grind of a whole season and make a state championship game appearance?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of work that goes into it. I think there's a little bit of luck that goes into it to get that deep. I mean, these guys have put in the work. They've put in the hours. And I'm talking about like since way back, like before even getting to high school. I mean, especially like these seniors, like just all the work that they've put in practice, outside of practice, the skill work and all of that stuff. Obviously that stuff doesn't go unnoticed. That's a huge part of it. But also I just think like this team in particular, like they had just a sense of like togetherness and kind of like belief in one another, and the roles that they kind of like just took part in and kind of took ownership of, and the way they were able to gel. All of that kind of went into it. And, I don't really know. There were a couple points that you can kind of go back on the season and kind of see like, hey, that was one of those moments where we kind of saw like, I don't know how special this season can be, but there's something special going on. And there were a couple times that I told the team that specifically before games, after games, like something special is either going to happen, it may be happening now, it may have already happened, but this season, something special is going to happen. And I didn't know what it was, and I told them very clearly up front that I didn't know what it was or when it would be or who it was going to come from. But I think now, sitting here today, we can kind of see what that special was. And so to answer your question, like what goes into it, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. Like I said, the skill work and just all of the tough X's and O's, the practices and stuff like that. But I think also just like what these guys were able to do together, just the chemistry that they had on and off the court. It was really, really cool to see, and to see how close they were and how they did kind of, adopt those roles and take ownership of those roles. And everybody kind of did their piece to get us where we were. It was really cool. And I just think it took that stuff. It took selfless ownership and just togetherness. And I think we kind of like show that, to an exactness. Like that's what we were. We were together and we believed in each other, and we kind of just did our roles, and that's what happens when you do that.
Yeah, and you had a spectacular senior class that for years coming we've seen, as you talked about, that build up there. Houston Henry kind of leading that charge, Hayden Hughes, another one, 2,000-point scorers right there. Talk about, if you can, how special, if you can put that into words, how special those guys in this senior class has been, and maybe how this has been an evidence of that.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't know if I have the exact words to talk about how special they are, other than saying that they are and were special. I mean, coming in day one, we came off of a rough season when they were in 8th grade. We went 0-14. And those guys coming in, like I knew they were good. I knew they had good, successful middle school years. I knew they had high expectations coming in, and we had high expectations for them. But you never really know like what that's going to turn out to be. And then those guys came in, and Houston, talking about him specifically, I mean, he started since day one. He started every single game of his high school career, and I think like his fingerprints on this program were evident very early, and it just carried on to to all the production that he had, the wins, the points, the assists, the steals, all of the stuff that goes into basketball. Like his fingerprints are all over this program for the last 4 years. And then Hayden the same way. He didn't really start playing a lot until his sophomore year. Played a little bit his freshman year, but coming into his sophomore year, we really didn't know. We kind of knew what Houston was before he got here and like what he was going to do. He was going to be the point guard. He was going to kind of run the team. Hayden was a little bit of a different story. Obviously knew that he was an ultra competitor and had all of the intangibles, but like what is he actually going to do, on the court? and saw little flashes of it, like his freshman year in JV. I was like, man, this guy can kind of shoot the basketball. Like, wasn't aware of that to that extent when he came in. And in his sophomore year, I mean, he just kind of like made that his role, and I mean, broke the school record, 93 threes that season, shot it at like 43%, and then he just kind of took that spot. Like, he knew what his job was. He was the spot up shooter. He was the guy that was the floor spacer. Obviously, great defensive guy. His competitiveness and his just his effort and his hustle and his toughness, obviously was very much so there on the defensive end. But then offensively, he just made shot after shot after shot, huge shots for us, and he kind of just took that on, took ownership of that role. And then the other guys, I mean, Maddox, he started as a sophomore, and then his junior year was a little odd, but then came back his senior year and jumped right back into that position of just being, that defensive kind of honestly, just the effort guy, getting deflections, getting loose balls, taking charges, all of that stuff. And then Combs was kind of a little bit of the unsung hero of that senior class. I mean, he came in as a freshman and as a sophomore, played JV, and then as a junior, you kind of got to see him a little bit more, starting to get a few more minutes. And then as a senior, he wasn't always scoring. He had some nights where we would look at the stat line and be like, "There's no way that's all that Combs did," but I mean, his fingerprints were all over the team this year, and really the program as a whole. I mean, he's kind of like the epitome of just like lunch pail guy. Just bring your lunch pail to work and just get the work done. And I mean, that's pretty much what he did. So yeah, I mean, they came in with high expectations, and we had high expectations every single year, and some years we were able to kind of meet those, some years we weren't, but to let those guys go out the way that we did. Now I will tell you one thing, those guys till this day, like, absolutely believe that we could have won that state championship, and rightfully so. But regardless, win or loss, win or lose, it was a special ending to a special group for a special group. So I'm glad to have been there, been able to do that for them.
Yeah, and a lot of coaches have like a common theme, message, motto, whatever it be. What was that for you guys this year in particular, and how did you kind of see the guys rally around it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's really a motto or anything for us, but like you said, I mean, those guys have kind of been building since freshman year, and we kind of created our own identity. We played defense a little bit differently than everybody else. We're a big zone team. We're a big 1-3-1 team, and that kind of became like our identity. And it just kind of, like I said, it's not really a motto, but we kind of just created what we were. Like the hustle, like you always knew that night in, night out, like we were going to be the hardest playing team on the floor. And we were going to get a lot of deflections, and we were going to get a lot of steals, and we were going to turn steals into transition. And then when our defense got going, our offense was going to go, and then we were going to hit threes. And it just kind of became what we were. And so really, like, it's not a motto, but we just, every single night, we were just like, we're not changing anything for anybody. We're just going to be exactly what we are and try to be the best versions of ourselves. And I think they kind of bought into that. And honestly, moving forward, I kind of think that's where our program's at. Like, this is what we do. We're going to try to do what we do better than you do what you do. And that's what we're going to hang our hat on. So I think that's kind of what we, the ownership that we took in this season. And, hopefully moving forward, we can kind of keep that same edge.
Yeah. And talk about, you hit on a lot of this, but maybe if you wanted to expand on a specific thing, what kind of work goes in behind the scenes that nobody sees to make a season like this a reality? Yeah,
I mean, like I said, again, the hours in the summer and in the off season, the 4-on-1s and all of that stuff is a big deal. Those guys have, fully dove into that over the last 4 years, especially talking about those seniors. But going into this past summer, like I said, we knew we had high expectations. We wanted to do something special. So the goal this summer was really to kind of this past summer was to put us in the toughest situations that we could possibly put ourselves in. So we spent a lot of time trying to just, create the hardest summer schedule that we could. And I think that really paid off. I mean, everybody goes off and does their own thing in the summer, and everybody, goes to their camps and stuff like that. But we really tried to be very intentional with who we were playing and what we were trying to get out of it. And I think we did that. We played in the top bracket of North Georgia's shootout. And I mean, we were definitely the only AA school. We played South Gwinnett, we played North Gwinnett, we played Riverwood, we played all those big schools. And I think that paid off. And then we went to the FCA camp at Piedmont, and we played North Oconee, and we played all those schools with a lot of size, because we knew that we weren't going to have a ton of size, and we knew that to do something special, we were going to have to beat some teams with some size. And so we wanted to go play those bigger, faster, more athletic teams. And I do think that paid dividends. Just playing at that level, playing at the live event. I think all of that kind of played into the success that we were able to have this season. And then outside of that, like you said, it's not really something that we practice. It's really just who those guys are, and kind of what they're about. And I mean, they were just able to get it done. So yeah, I mean, it's all the shots, it's all the work that everybody talks about, it's all the summer stuff that everybody talks about, but it's also just guys just deciding that they're going to get it done. And I think that's what this group, not just these seniors, but these young guys, the juniors, the sophomores, the freshmen, I kind of think they just kind of turned the page and they realized, hey, this year we're going to do something special, and they were able to absolutely do that.
Yeah, and the crazy thing with guys like that, they may not even, it hasn't soaking in yet, but just knowing that they've left a legacy that goes on beyond when they're long gone here from Union County. So specifically, you look at guys like the senior group, but Houston and Hayden and what they've done in particular, passing that torch, so to speak. What would you say the importance of their legacy is, the ripple effects of that for this program?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, they left a huge legacy, and they were great guys to kind of do that with, just coming in, working really, really hard. Like I said, the 4-on-1s and just all of those little things. I mean, they were there to compete every single day, and I know it's kind of cliche, you talk about hey, you got to come in, you got to work hard every single day, but and everybody wants to win, but not everybody really wants to do those things that winners do. And I mean, those guys did that. They showed up every single day, and they were there to win, whether it was a 4-on-1, whether it was a morning practice, an afternoon practice, a summer game. It did not matter. You were going to get their best shot every single night, every single day. Didn't matter what it was. And so if any young Panthers were watching that, they left a great example for those young guys to kind of live up to and kind of follow. So yeah, I mean, I think their legacy is obviously huge, and I think it's going to last. I think we got some young guys that kind of saw it, and making this run right here their senior year. I think you can't look at that and doubt the work that they've put in and kind of the mindset that they've brought over the last 4 years. I mean, you kind of have to look at it now and be that kind of aha moment, that's what happens when you do this night in and night out, day in, day out. So yeah, I mean, I think it will stick. I hope it sticks, and for like you said, they may not know exactly what they've done right now today, but hopefully over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, whatever it is, they can kind of look back on this one and be that was the one, or that was one of those seasons that kind of created what we are moving forward. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to see, kind of who saw that and kind of who took note and who's able to, recreate it or make their own legacy.
Well, congrats, Coach, on an incredible season. Can't wait to see you do it again. I know it's easier said than done,
yes, sir.
But you're the right guy to lead this team back to that. So.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.